The film begins with an interview with a man called Dr. Thomas Harbour, where it is disclosed that he has just discovered the existence of the afterlife. He describes that after the body dies, a portion of our consciousness leaves it and goes to another plane of existence. The interviewer questions him whether he is responsible of the millions of people who decided to take their own lives because they thought that there was something better that awaited them on the other side. Thomas is not guilty, however, and he believes that it was absolutely necessary to make this discovery public in the future of humanity. At this moment, one of the cameramen abruptly breaks into the scene and thanks Thomas to provide him with a new start before shooting himself. The scene then switches to sometime later where we find a man called Will Harbour, who is the son of Thomas. He is boarding a ferry to see his father, and on the television it is stated that it is 1.5 years since the last time Thomas was seen in public. In that fateful interview, it is disclosed that since that time the number of people who have committed suicide in an effort to get to the afterlife has increased to 4 million. This obviously annoys Will, and 3 million was okay yesterday. He suddenly switches off the television. At this moment, another passenger called Isla comes in and says that she was watching TV, so Will comes to her to talk to her. He remarks that she is very familiar and this is not normal since they are meeting the first time. They start talking about the invention of Thomas called the Discovery, and Isa claims that she considers it a simple way out of suffering. Will, a neurologist, is skeptical and does not think that the evidence behind the discovery is conclusive. Their views are evidently different because Isla is optimistic about the second chance after death, whereas Will is not. Soon after, they land on an island and part ways without knowing whether they will ever see each other again. Will is then picked by his younger brother, Toby, who takes him to a mansion that his father has recently bought. Toby tells him that their father has created a new device and is willing to demonstrate it to him. Meets a few individuals in uniform, and Toby tells him that they had all tried to kill themselves several times. So Thomas took them here and provided them with a reason to live, a lifetime of chicken wings. When Will enters the mansion, he comes to a laboratory where he finds that his father is related to a new bizarre machine. The process entails killing him several seconds to capture his brain waves and then reviving him using electrical shocks before it is too late. All this is very disturbing to Will, and he informs his brother that he has crossed the line and it appears that his father has begun a cult here. Thomas later on wakes up after the experiment and embraces his son. Will, however, urges him to drop all this and tell the media that the discovery was not true so that people will stop killing themselves. Thomas, however, is fully confident about his work, and he also reminds Will that it was him who motivated him to do this research in the first place. It is revealed that Will had an accident as a child and he was even dead a minute. When he was resuscitated, he told his parents that he had seen short bursts of light and a small boy standing before him. You suppose that is what you saw? I don't know. Maybe I was dead. It is also disclosed that Will had been working with his father on this research at one time when the burden of the deaths became overwhelming and he turned his back. Following this strained dialogue, Will visits a local beach to clear his head, where he sees Isla in the distance. It is made evident that she is trying to commit suicide and runs into the sea, so Will rushes to save her at once, although she desperately opposes. Finally, Will is able to drag her out of the water and takes her back to the mansion. He desires her to be taken in here and talks to Toby of it, but it happens that she has a number of procedures to undergo, one of them being filling a questionnaire. At the last point, Thomas asks Zyla about her life, and only then she is accepted into the group. On that particular night, a few cult members meet in a hall at the request of Thomas. Ski says that now is the time, and a revelation that can transform the course of humanity is in his hands. Meanwhile, outside, a woman called Lacey is talking to a man on how human reasoning can develop. Lacey is worried that one day people will start killing other people in the name of taking them to the afterlife. The meeting starts soon, and after a short introduction, Thomas introduces his project, which states that it will show what life is like in the afterlife. All the people present are shocked by the presentation, yet a serious issue soon arises. The individual attached to the machine will not be able to come back with the new device since their brain activity will be permanently disabled. This implies that they will require a newly killed body to continue. It is, however, not a big issue given the number of individuals who commit suicide daily. They finally make a decision to visit a morgue to get a recently dead body, which is assigned to Toby, Isa, and Will. Soon after that, they get to the morgue where Toby distracts the staff as Isa and will enter the building and start searching the bodies. They finally decide on a man called Phillips and steal his body without anyone noticing. ISA does not like the quarters she has given her that night. Therefore, she goes to the room of Will and sleeps on his spare bunk bed. The two start conversing in their beds when a startling discovery of the motivations of Thomas is revealed. Will shows that his mother had died years earlier than the discovery was invented through suicide. It happened to be their anniversary day, but Thomas was too much occupied in his work to quit his study. So his wife climbed up the stairs and entered the bathtub. Will then admits that the following day he was the one who found her dead body. He believes that this is why his father has become so obsessed with demonstrating the existence of the afterlife to know whether his wife made it somewhere. The following day, Thomas assembles a small team to start testing his new device on the body that they had retrieved the previous night. Lacey switches on the machine as Toby is ready to administer the electrical discharges to the corpse attached to the machine. Everyone is staring at the screen, expecting some response, yet nothing occurs. Thomas tells Toby to press the button again and again, but all in vain. The agitated man eventually leaves the laboratory in a storm with the rest of the people trailing him. The room is empty and Will is the only one who remains in the room and begins to unplug the cable when the screen bursts into life. Will is horrified and is viewing a video in which Phillips is in a hospital and tries to enter a room but is stopped by a woman. She reprimands Phillips because he is absent and he has forgotten his ailing father. At this moment, Toby and Thomas come in, so Will quickly turns off the screen before they can look at it. They then later prepare to take the body of Phillips back, and in the process, Thomas finds Lacey informing the rest about the test results. Then, ISA and Will bring the dead body back to the morgue where they put him at the entrance and see the staff take him in. Will is surprised a few seconds later when ISA kisses him and they drive away in an awkward silence. When Will returns to the mansion, he cannot forget the pictures he had viewed on the monitor, and therefore he downloads the footage to his laptop and goes ahead to view it. He then finds out that the hospital that Phillips had visited is close to him, and thus he decides to visit it himself. Upon arrival, Will attempts to locate the room in the video, but is unable to locate it, and asks a cleaner about it. The man explains that the ward was in existence before the 10-year-old remodeling of the hospital. When Will hears this, he understands that the machine does not show the afterlife, but it records the memories, which are subconsciously buried. Thomas later invites Lacey to the stage in the hall where everyone is at the mansion. Then he degrades her by telling her how he had discovered her in the woods with a gun to her heart. He asserts that he looked after her and blames her as telling people about the malfunction of his device. In a panic, Lacey claims that it simply slipped out and asks to be forgiven, but Will coldly tells her to pack her stuff and throws her out of the mansion, which devastates Lacey. Will later encounters Isla and eventually presents her with the video footage he had seen of Phillips and concludes that it is not the afterlife but merely his memories. He also informs her that he had done some research in the hospital and that the father of Phillips was admitted there 13 years ago. But Isla insists that the test should be conclusive and indicates an important detail. The tattoo on the arm of Phillips in the video is not what she recalls on his dead body. This provides them with a legitimate cause to keep on investigating. Therefore, they choose to go to the address of the father of Phillips and meet his relatives. However, on their way there, the two visit a deserted beach where Isa had tried to kill herself a couple of days before. At this stage, Isla tells her heartrending tale of why she did this, and she lost her 5-year-old son, Oliver. She tells her that they had been on a beach such as this before and she had fallen asleep, but when Oliver went into the water and drowned, she was completely devastated. Will is horrified by her sad history and consoles her. In the process, they embrace each other in a heartfelt embrace. They later on come to the address of Phillips where they are surprised to find the same woman in the video of Phillips. She discloses that Phillips was her brother and she does not seem to be shocked or devastated by his death. She confesses that her brother was not a good man and had left his family and their ailing father many years ago. What is more terrible is the fact that he did not even visit their father in the hospital even though he promised to do it. Still in shock, Will and Isa then inquire about the tattoo and the woman reveals to them a similar tattoo they had both got at the age of 18. The tattoo in the video is obviously not this, but it is the same as the tattoo on the dead body that they had seen. This confirms that they did not see what they saw in the footage as a memory because Phillips did not visit the hospital to visit his father. Following this, Isa and Will go back to the mansion and their heads are still filled with the mystery of the video. One thing leads to another and they get intimate. However, their time is cut short when Toby comes in and screams that their father is dying. Thomas has identified himself with the machine and he is intentionally attempting to kill himself to demonstrate that his creation is functioning. Everybody runs to the laboratory where they find Thomas tied to the wires on the brink of death. Then something weird occurs as they watch something on the screen that depicts the mother of Will. She is summoning Thomas to dinner, dinner, but he is totally engrossed in his work. It happens that this is a video of the same night of their anniversary when she committed suicide. However, to his credit, this time Thomas leaves his study room and halts his wife, who was about to go up the stairs. He tells him that his work can wait and proposes that they have dinner together. He tells her that his work can wait and proposes that they have dinner together. And yet somehow nobody is asking how they are watching memories on a computer screen. Luckily, they were able to revive Thomas using a defibrillator before it is too late, and they all rewatch the footage. Will eventually tells his father what he had witnessed in the footage of Phillips, which did not occur when the man was alive. Thomas is shocked by what he observes and discloses his theory concerning the real meaning of the discovery. Upon death, a person goes to a different form of his life where she gets a second opportunity to repent her sins. A son who goes to see his father in his deathbed, a husband who does not allow his wife to commit suicide. By doing so, individuals would not be compelled to take their regrets because they will always get a second opportunity. In case Thomas is correct, the discovery would be disastrous to the human race, since an increasing number of individuals would commit suicide in an attempt to correct their errors. They therefore make a decision to destroy the machine before any other person can find out the truth. Thomas then later assembles the cult members to tell them that he will no longer be involved in the project. This makes everybody puzzled, but before Thomas can say anything, Lacey suddenly comes and shoots Isla. She desperately attempts to explain her deeds by saying she did not kill Isla, she was just sending her to the afterlife. She starts screaming that all she wants is her place with Thomas. Toby steals her off, and a desperate Will attempts to care to the dying Isla. She then states that she does not want to die anymore, but unfortunately dies in the arms of Will, and he is totally devastated. The next scene is a few days later, and Will is still mourning over his love and does not even want to leave his room. He overhears Thomas and Toby talking about calling the family of Isa so that they can retrieve her body. It is then shown that Will has linked himself to the machine because he desires to go to the afterlife and rescue Isla. He is back on the ferry a few minutes later, where he hears the same news about his father on TV and soon turns it off. He then encounters Isla, and this time they both know one another. Will tells her that he wants to save her, and she asks him to relax and tells him that whatever he is feeling is only a memory. In a twist to the story, she turns out that this memory has already occurred in other lives of Will and is a time loop. The first time they met, he did not even get over the ferry. The following day, he saw in the news that Isla had drowned in the beach. The willpower that he had not done anything to assist her now started to haunt Will. This emotion motivated him to commit suicide to get to the afterlife and rescue her. Isa describes that Will has existed in endless lives, and he has continued living trying to make sure that she does not take her life. And this is the first time that he has made it. Will questions him why he does not recall any of his past lives. So, Isla responds that he sees her again on this ferry whenever he dies. Even though nobody can remember their past lives completely, there are instances when some memories are able to stick around, and that is why her face was familiar to him when they first met in the movie. Will panics and says that he wants to save her. Isa smiles and says that he has saved her, and that there are many ways to save someone. At the end of the movie, Will walks away, but shortly turns back to look back as though he is familiar with who Isa is, although he has never seen her in this reality day. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.